Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to break down one of the most grueling and honestly, one of the most iconic sporting events on the entire planet, the Tour de France. But here's the thing, to really get it, we have to start with a pretty surprising fact. The world's greatest bicycle race, well, it wasn't born from some pure love of the sport. Nope. It was created for one reason and one reason only, to save a failing newspaper. So to really get to the heart of the tour, here's our plan. We'll kick things off with its wild commercial origins. Then we're going to see how its most famous features were basically born out of necessity. After that, we'll jump ahead to the modern race and figure out its structure, untangle the whole paradox of teamwork in what looks like a solo sport. And finally, we won't shy away from the difficult topic of doping. Okay, let's dive right in with part one, a race to sell newspapers. Believe it or not, this story starts with a political scandal and a full-on media war. So picture this. It's the turn of the 20th century, and a new sports paper called Lotto is on the brink of collapse. It was started after this huge political disagreement over something called the Dreyfus Affair, which had basically split France in two. During a crisis meeting in 1902, a young journalist has this totally wild idea. What if we create a bicycle race so massive, so completely audacious, that people would have to buy our paper just to keep up with it? And the result? The very first Tour de France in 1903. It was an instant sensation. The paper's sales just exploded, and the race, well, it was here to stay. Now, what's really mind-blowing is just how brutal that first race was. I mean, it was practically a different sport. In 1903, you only had 6 stages, but the longest one was an incredible 471 kilometers. That's almost 300 miles, often ridden through the dead of night. The bikes? They were single-speed steel monsters that weighed 18 kilos. And get this, the riders were completely on their own. They had to fix everything themselves, no outside help. You compare that to today's race with 21 stages, super lightweight carbon fiber bikes, and a whole fleet of team cars and mechanics. It's night and day. This whole era was known as the time of the convicts of the road. I mean, the suffering was just immense, and the riders would do pretty much anything to keep going. This quote from 1924 just says it all. A journalist asked a writer what kept them going, and he confessed they raced on dynamite, which was basically a cocktail of drugs used for one reason, to numb the pain of a race that was intentionally designed to be superhuman. So that suffering created a spectacle, for sure. But the race needed a little more structure to become the drama we know today. Let's move on to Section 2 and see how 2 key innovations really created the modern tour.
First up, in 1910, the organizers sent the race into the high mountains, the Pyrenees. This was a total game changer. All of a sudden, pure endurance wasn't going to cut it. You had to be a phenomenal climber. Then, in 1919, they introduced the yellow jersey, the famous maillot jaune. And the reason was super practical. The crowds were getting so big that nobody could tell who was actually winning. The color yellow, that was chosen for a simple reason. It was the exact same color as the pages of their sponsor, the Lotto newspaper.
So the mountains became the ultimate stage, and the yellow jersey became the ultimate prize. Now, let's take a look at how all those pieces fit into the puzzle of the modern race. Think of this as your quick guide to watching the tour today. Okay, so a modern tour is a 3-week, 21-stage marathon, but not all stages are created equal. You've got your flat stages, which are all about pure speed and usually end in this chaotic, crazy bunch sprint. Then you have hilly stages, which are perfect for aggressive, punchy riders who can attack on short, steep climbs. The legendary mountain stages, well, that's where the main contenders for the overall victory really battle it out. And finally, you have the individual time trials. They call it the race of truth. It's just one rider against the clock with absolutely no help from anyone. And all this shows us that there are actually multiple races within the race. And each one has its own iconic jersey. You have the famous yellow jersey, which goes to the overall leader with the lowest total time. The green jersey is for the points leader. That's usually your best sprinter. The polka dot jersey is for the king of the mountains, the best climber, and the white jersey goes to the best-placed young rider under the age of 26. All these different jerseys and goals bring us to this central paradox of the sport. While only one person can actually win the Tour de France, it is, at its heart, a team sport. So how does that work? Let's take a look. Inside each 8-man team, every single rider has a very specific job. There's one designated leader, known as the GC, or General Classification Contender, and the entire team is built to support him. You also have specialists, like the sprinter for flat stages and the climber to help the leader in the mountains, And then you have the domestiques. These are the workhorses. They protect their leader from the wind, they go back to the car to get food and water, and they sacrifice their own chances for the team's victory.
The term domestique literally means servant in French. These riders are the true unsung heroes of the Tour de France. Any leader you see in that yellow jersey is in reality standing on the shoulders of 7 teammates who have given absolutely everything to get him there. Without them, winning is impossible. All right, now, no honest explainer of the Tour can ignore its most difficult chapter. We have to talk about the shadow of doping and really confront the sport's complicated history with performance-enhancing drugs.
The 1990s became known as the EPO era. EPO is a drug that boosts red blood cell production, and it just dramatically increases your endurance. For years, it was totally undetectable, and its use was rampant. This all came to a head in 1998 with the Festina affair, where police raids exposed this massive, team-organized doping ring. It nearly ended the Tour right then and there. And of course, in 2012, the USADA investigation finally proved the systemic doping by Lance Armstrong, who was then stripped of all 7 of his titles. In the wake of all those scandals, the fight for a clean sport has become incredibly sophisticated. It really relies on this 3-pronged attack. First, there's constant, rigorous testing. Second, there's something called the athlete biological passport, which tracks a rider's blood values over time, looking for suspicious changes instead of just one specific drug. And finally, anti-doping has moved beyond the lab. Now it relies on intelligence and police work to uncover conspiracies. So when you step back and you look at the whole thing, the Tour de France is just a bundle of contradictions. It's a team sport that exists only to crown a single individual. It's a French national celebration that often starts in completely different countries. And it is, without a doubt, one of the most beautiful spectacles in all of sports, yet it's one that has been deeply, deeply scarred by human frailty. It's a race that has always pushed the absolute limits of endurance, of technology, and of ethics. And all of that leaves us with one final question to think about. In a sport where suffering is literally part of the brand, and technology is always blurring the line of what's possible, what does it really mean to be a champion?